to Twin Humanities, the Twin Humanities media empire. Can you believe what's happened? Can you believe it?
What a few weeks it's been, eh?
I know, rolling in gold and jewels and pebbles and polished shells.
Ooh.
That's what we're doing.
Like a Scrooge McDuck of the internet.
On the pandemic-enforced beach of life, which is a carpet. How you doing? I know how you're doing, but I'm going to ask anyway because it's just polite. In fact, I'm not. I know how you're doing. You're doing all right.
I mean, I might not be doing all right.
Well, I only stopped speaking to you about like 5 hours ago.
It might have been an eventful 5 hours.
It wasn't though, was it?
It wasn't, no, it was fine. The baby took a while to get to sleep today, but otherwise, everything was fine.
Cool.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've just been to our friend Ellie's island on Animal Crossing, and whereas I've only been playing it for about 5 days, and my place is still pretty bare bones, Ellie is putting flowers in certain places so she can crossbreed them. She has a massive statue of Godzilla. There's a picnic area on the beach. She has a raised area with a Japanese water garden. And it's just intimidating and stunning. Plus, she gave me some coffee stuff, which I brought back with me.
Look at you, coffee gift.
And put in my bare bones house. She gave me a coffee grinder, a mocha pot, and a mug. So, which was cool. And I managed to at her island get some really nice wallpaper. And yeah, it was good. It's a very absorbing game. I can see why a lot of people are just really managing to chill out through all this craziness with it, because it's just lovely. Also, I know a lot of people who really aren't into gaming, who have seen what their friends are doing on this, and are like, I'm trying to buy a Nintendo Switch, but they're sold out everywhere. Literally, people that don't play video games want to get a Nintendo Switch because they've seen what their friends are doing on Animal Crossing. Which is kind of cool.
I will still never understand it, but it's very cool. I'm glad people are having fun.
Also, kind of quite nice that folks who aren't into gaming might consider something is for them. And like, you know, we always see, oh, next gen is coming. Oh, let's show you the show reel of next gen, and it's shooting, football. You know what I mean? It's the same stuff.
Shooting again.
It looks a bit more lifelike, but it's quite nice that somebody's like, oh, I can run around an island and talk to a monkey and a bunny. And Ellie had some sort of mountain goat that was dressed up in Swedish clothes, called Frita.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, I just think that's kind of nice. Also, a lovely tonic, but our tonic has been falling back in love with something that is one of our early loves and our favourite loves of this oeuvre. Our oeuvre.
That's a good word.
Yeah. Did you like the way I went?
Oeuvre. It gave like a little twist at the end. I like that.
Yeah. It was kind of quite posh, also a little bit Scottish, like somebody that grew up in the Highlands, but maybe had lived in London a bit too long, been known the odd Tory. Sorry about that. So yeah. So Twin Humanities is back. It's been back in a big way, probably the biggest way that we've ever been. It's been an explosion.
I think that's not far off. This is the best, like, in terms of putting things out there, we've been in forever, isn't it?
This is what happens when we have time.
We have to sit at home with nothing to do all day. Yeah,
well, I've been keeping really busy. Like, the days have been flying by, but I've got no money, and debts are worrying. But yeah, the actual space and time on the other side of it is what I've been trying to lean into, and you know, do something about the things that I can alter and not the others.
Yeah. See, I thought I'd have more time to kind of do, like, read more or, like, paint some of my tiny miniatures and stuff, but that hasn't actually happened. Like, because we've been busy, and then the baby's been busy, and that's my entire day.
I've still been waking up early. You know, yoga, bath, all that sort of stuff, and then in the morning I've played a few hours of games, then streaming for a couple of hours, and then I will go out for a walk, come back, settle in, watch a movie, watch some telly, play some games, whatever, go to sleep. There is an itinerary, and I can see colleagues on WhatsApp groups who are absolutely going out of their mind because they've got nothing to do. And for me, it's part of it's like, I really wanted to watch that film today and I didn't.
There is so much to do, though.
But we have an umbrella, a sexy, beautiful umbrella that's kind of been over all of this for us. And it started off with, I guess, all of the virus stuff had thrown me in a big way. I'd stopped playing stuff in general. I was getting very stressed with shops shutting down around us, our store going to takeaway, and the increasingly abusive and in many cases very ill people that were still coming in. We were eventually offered the government 80% of wages, which my employer isn't putting any money towards. Hence, money worries are a big problem. I've been tickling into Destiny 2 a fair bit. I'd not long since picked up The Division 2, but a virus game didn't seem like the move. And I wondered if a few folks are maybe staring down Resident Evil 3 Remake in the same regard. It's like, I was looking forward to this, but circumstances might... Yeah, slightly. I mean, even with... I love Kingdom on Netflix, like the period Korean drama with zombies. Looking forward to for a good year, that second series. And then it's like... a virus drama.
Not this week.
I'm not. No, not yet. So I came back to Dark Souls 2, and the last time I feel I truly lost myself, I ended up back in Drang Lake, and I fancied doing so again. So the return to Dark Souls 2, I still think of it as the game that gets a battering from elsewhere. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's my favourite. The art style still moves me. I love the levels. I'm running through the game again for the first time in a while. I'm not only romanced by it anew, but I'm noticing new stuff. I'm appreciating things that I'm seeing for the first time in a long time, and sometimes it's the first time as I can remember seeing it. It's weird. So I quietly, as I do, bounced onto the Xbox One version for this. And
so that's really not fair, because you have secrets. You can do that, and I can't see what you're doing. You can always see what I'm doing.
I know. Mind you, I haven't been on PS4 though, so I don't tend to see what you do. Although this whole shebang has kind of made me delightfully less platform agnostic. Because I'd sort of really hunkered down in Xbox One. I didn't really fancy turning the other stuff on. I didn't put the Switch on for about 10 months. I didn't really turn the Xbox One on. Sorry, I didn't turn the PS4 on because we don't tend to get time to play games on it anymore. So it's on the one hand, that has been a super nice thing. So, but I was hunkered down on the Xbox One version because I was just thinking that it was going to be kind of me going through it again, just relaxing at home, and just it's a super important game for me, so to go back through it again was quite nice. As ever, the dawning realisation is that all the genuinely ace things that the game contained were flat out binned for the third game. Like, I was sort of going through, I was like, bonfire aesthetics. Get rid of all the enemies and bring forth the NG Plus version of that level for extra danger and goodies. Clearing out an area.
Life gems.
Life gems. Pop a lemon while moving for slow health increase, or stand there for Astus and get whoosh. Which can you afford to do? Which can you afford to do? Which? You've got a choice. Amazing cast of NPC summons. Do it yourself for increased difficulty, or choose as you please with the summons. As the servers eventually drift, and the last time I was on the Xbox One version, they'd been down for a few days. As they eventually go offline, I still think those summons will keep the game going in a way that maybe your Demon Souls or your Dark Souls might struggle to do. Best NG Plus. Straight after finishing the first game, surrounded by falconers, no mate, absolutely no. Release the birds. New enemies, quirks, drops, everything off the table. And we were talking about it today. I still remember the guy at Iron Keep who sits just before the the last boss bonfire, and he's more of a swine than the boss himself, spins those flame ball things, then launches into you. What an arse! The amount of times I've not been able to tag a bonfire because he's just been like, welcome back, my friend, to the show that never ends. Glad you could attend. Come inside. The DLC as well is bloody sublime, and the Scholar remix is all about that. But so I was playing, and it started bringing me back to vanilla. And it'd been a while since I'd gone back to the source, the absolute original. I wanted to see what it was like, compare the changes, and given the time I had available, I thought it would be fun. And then I started thinking about us and vanilla. And strangely, my nostalgic first experience of it was on PS3, and yours, Mr. PlayStation,
was on an Xbox 360.
Xbox 360. So tell tales of this.
Yeah, I was writing reviews for a friend at the time for a website that's gone now called MK Gaming. And he just hit me up one day years ago and just said, I've got some PS3 stuff. I don't have a PS3. Do you want to write some reviews? I was like, yeah, I'll give that a go. Sure. I got some good stuff out of that, actually. I was very happy. But one of the things that turned up for him, about 6 months in, was, Dark Souls 2's here. I was like, yep, I'm all over that. Yes, please. And I turned up to pick it up and I'm like, oh no, it's on the 360. Oh no, but I don't have one of those. But I need this now. This is like a week and a half before the actual release. This was early. Not the goddamn 2 months early the streamers seem to get everything these days. No, it was like a week and a half early. And I was properly having a bit of a moment, but I want to play the thing. I've got it ordered myself, but it's here now and I'm holding it and I can't touch it. So he lent me a 360 for the week, so I could get on with it. And I had to learn what button X was because I kept getting it wrong. It's foolish, just foolish, hitting wrong stuff.
But that's pretty special to even using a different platform to the one that you're normally used to. Everything seems like some sort of secret and like an anomaly. When games
weird.
magazines would be given those sort of slightly wonky versions of consoles that could run pre-release games and stuff.
I think for me the big thing was the fact that there was absolutely no wiki or anything yet. There's nothing.
100%.
And it's not like these days where, again, because people seem to get the game so early now, you get the wikis are done as the game comes out. It's all there. You're like, well, I haven't finished it yet. A lot of the games websites, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out yesterday, was it? And then I've seen 4 or 5 articles come up that I've yet to click on. They go, let's talk about the ending. Fuck off, it came out today.
This is the thing. There was that period, and this isn't too long ago. This is still about 5 years ago, where there was a period where it was where a game came out and nobody knew anything about it. There was this sort of fallow ground where people could figure out their own runs, or they could test it, they could talk amongst their friends, the magazines, websites and stuff would be figuring it out. And now, 2 weeks before, it's what up, it's your friend Fritterboy, and I'm here with the first 30 hours of Dark Souls 9. And you're like, why do I need this now?
Final boss strategies.
Yeah, with
by the way,
thumbnails.
This is the final boss surprise. Enjoy. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's you.
Yeah.
Arseholes.
It's the return to Anor Londo. Great, thanks.
Yeah. I can't believe people spoiled that.
Just give me a minute. I'm just going to close the curtains. One take.
Okay.
Live curtain closing.
Sounds good. Good Foley.
I can still hear you. It's great.
He needs a wee, really. It's a quick wee break.
Never mind all this Dark Souls rubbish. What does this curtain sound like from a distance? Put the lamp on. What about that?
Whoa! I can see you now.
Yes, you can't, can you?
All right. So anyway, I was playing through it, and for me, this first run of Dark Souls 2 on the 360 that I did, I would say half the game, I got to Smelter before I sort of tapped out because I just couldn't work it out. It was hell. Smelter was hell on my first go. Because there's
Helter.
Helter Smelter. There you go. Because there was no guide, there was no wiki. You couldn't look it up. I'm having a problem with this boss. What can I do? Has anyone got any ideas? Or like, have you beaten so and so? Nobody had beaten so and so because nobody I knew had played it. Like I was literally on my own. So Ruin Sentinels, really good example. I completely almost redid my whole character because I couldn't beat the Ruin Sentinels. I armoured up with the heaviest shield I could find, the biggest armour I could find, the biggest weapon I could find, and just turtled down and chipped them away. And it took me probably 15, 20 goes to get through that stupid fight. Good lord! Now I can do it without even looking. But at the time, I just didn't know. You didn't know. Like you were running around like a headless chicken trying to work things out. Good example. In the Shaded Woods, there is a point where you go around and you fight a load of lion men and you free some statues. And then to get to the boss of that area, you have to kind of turn down through like an archway between two stone towers. Between two stone towers. I did not see the walkway between those two towers for probably 5 hours. I was running around that game absolutely baffled that I didn't know where I could go. Like, I think I've been everywhere. I've done everything. There are no doors I can go through. Everything is locked. I've been to everywhere. And then just this moment of walking past, turning left and going, I didn't see that before. And then walking through and going, there's a boss fight up here. For God's sake.
I remember playing the original Dark Souls and eventually seeing Epic Namebro go through it, like some way in when he was the first one that was really unpicking stuff. And he got to Ash Lake and I was like, what?
Where?
Because none of us knew.
No.
None of us knew where it was. And this, I think there's something special about those early moments of a game like this when nobody knows what they're doing and everybody's going like, oh, I've been using this, or I've been using this, or I did it like this. And it's not... It doesn't seem, or it didn't seem like there was a need to have numerous YouTubers with 9 weeks worth of videos already laid out.
The content grind, you've got to get it out because the thing is, there's still an audience for it, and who are we to say that you shouldn't watch video online? But like for me, I don't see the point of it all anymore. Like it's let people play the game. Like do the glut of stuff. Give us a week, maybe, but then people don't click your video. You've got to get your content out there if you're a big content man. It's just that's the grind. That's the media grind, isn't it, these days? Well, you can't really avoid it. And Souls is such big money now. Like it's such big YouTube view numbers.
But I think
it's a big thing.
I think Bamco kind of gave everybody the all clear on Dark Souls 3 to be spoilery as they wanted to. So even the preview stuff was like, hey, look at this guy. Hey, look at this area. Can't believe I'm here. Look who it is. Wow, it's one of those. And it was like, what? And that's even before, the Japanese Xbox release, wasn't it? It was like about... Was it?
There was an early one, that everyone jumped on
DS3. But yeah, there's something kind of quite secretive and special that... It's not that long ago, but it feels like a lost era of games. And I knew 2 people that got it. There was you, and you were just like, I can't believe what I've just played. Oh, you really gonna like this? And you weren't spoiling it for me.
No.
And I had a message from Andy Hamilton, and Andy Hamilton was like, "It's really good. It's really different. I'm massively enjoying it. It's great." And both of you were excited, you were into it, your head hadn't been swayed by the hive mind or anything else. You both treating it as it was,
because there wasn't a hive mind,
and calling it as you see it. And I think that even like part of the reaction to Dark Souls 2 Vanilla when it first came out was Dark Souls did a great thing where at the point where there wasn't a lot to write about in the summer, a lot of journalists tried Dark Souls that never had. And this coincided with a big price drop and, second-hand versions like coming in and stuff, and people went out and bought it. And at that point, a lot of the lore had been unpicked as well, and word of mouth was through the roof. So people that were going into it had all this information to read up on lore and on strategies and on builds, and they were talking amongst themselves, and there was something big and unusual, this really special anomaly that was there. And going into Dark Souls 2 at that point, nobody had found any of it. When I went through Dark Souls, I treated it like Demon Souls. I kind of loved the levels, and I'd saw the conversations and the characters and stuff, I had no idea there was that much underneath it. I just played it as it was. I enjoyed it for the game and the levels and the action and all that sort of stuff. But so with none of that stuff being available to people at the start, I think a lot of people kind of flipped it off for that and for being so different. Because there were a lot of folks that would go like, "Oh God, there's too many enemies. They'd rush you down." It's not the same game. Play it differently.
The animations are different. It feels bad.
Play it differently.
Wrong.
That's fine.
It's different, therefore bad is just a stance I can't get behind. Different is where you get the fun, weird stuff. Like when for me, when a sequel sticks too hard to like what went before, that's a bad sequel because it doesn't push the thing on anymore. And I'm not. We did talk about this when we were streaming a little bit about trying not too hard to become those guys, but about Dark Souls 3. Like trying not to just bag on Dark Souls 3 because I don't like seeing people slag off Dark Souls 2, and it's part of one of my rules now. If I'm watching a piece of content and they just start just ragging on about Dark Souls 2 for no reason, I'll just stop watching it. I will just turn it off. I don't. Nah.
Sorry, and I said to you recently that I feel like I've got unfinished business with DS3 in the same way as like relating to the way that people look at Dark Souls 2 because I kind of want to like it. I want to. It took me a long time to fall in love with Bloodborne, and at that point, it was a case of it's not me, it's you, or rather, it's not you, it's me. But maybe there's that thing with DS3. I don't know, and it is something that I'm looking forward to diving into a little bit at a certain point.
Maybe we need that co-op run. Maybe we need to do that proper co-op run together because I find that I always have more fun when there's like the two of us banging through because we can kind of mitigate some of the tornado of limb enemies and some of those bosses that are evil by teamwork. And
I think the brief forays that we did have to get in together, we did have a good time.
It was fun.
We never had that kind of consistency, I guess. Certainly not the consistency that we're having now. But yeah, go on. You were saying about vanilla and DS2 and ragging. And
it frustrates me. I mean, I understand people have their problems with it, and I think Scholar is better than vanilla. I agree as well. I think it's definitely a lot better. But just like the level of derision that you get from people, like when you see like people like ranking their Souls games, and it'll be like you'll see like it'll be Dark Souls 1, and then Bloodborne, and then Dark Souls 3, then Demon Souls, and then Scholar, and then they'll do a load of like dots or lines or arrows, like loads and loads and loads of them, and then they'll write Dark Souls 2 vanilla. And you're like, cool, good, very clever. You didn't have to do that. Good, you made a statement. Good for you.
This is one of the reasons why, in the fading back into Dark Souls 2 and rediscovering Scholar, I wanted to do that delve back a little deeper again. Because, I mean, for me, like I say, my first experience of it was I was writing for Plus XP at that point, and I had an invite to Bamco to play the pre-release code. Can you imagine Bamco talking to the likes of me?
Oh, I know. What heady days they were.
Yes, indeed. So I had a 2 a.m. bus to the capital with a broken toilet door that kept banging open and closed and smelt of the worst bums. I managed to fall asleep. I was terrified trying to understand the tube, got off at the right stop to find the apocalypse. It was hammering it down with rain. I saw this very Souls-like old church, and then, as if kind of this glittering diamond just further on from it was this huge glass building that was Bamco. So we were instructed once we were in there that we should get to should we get to a certain point, we'd be asked to turn back. Which, in hindsight, we know exactly why. I didn't go that way. I was a little bit emotional, a little bit teary, a little bit excited. Examining everything. I made it into the Forest of Fallen Giants and went the longest in the sesh without dying, mate. Can you believe that? Me, of all people.
You?
Yeah, and I did actually make progress. It wasn't just like...
You were still in Medulla looking at stuff, weren't you?
Still in things for Twix looking at walls.
Yeah. I haven't died yet. You fought one enemy. It's been 3 hours.
Yeah. So when I got the game itself originally, I thought it was okay, honestly. I enjoyed it, but I didn't freak out about it. I was entertained But I knew that the long haul was when folks started uncovering secrets tied together with the law. And like I say, Dark Souls was like that to me, and it became a big favourite for me and many others because of the way that it marinated. It kind of grew, I guess. Folks forget the great reviews Dark Souls 2 got from the off. Although I did find one when I was looking back, which said the death mechanic made the game almost unplayable.
Oh, cool.
Can you imagine?
I can't believe I've almost unplayed it for almost 200 hours on the PS4.
Which I filed that away with the fella from IGN saying that Bloodborne should have had a map and markers because he didn't know where to go. Dan Stapleton.
It's not that hard.
So yeah, we then spoke about this, and I'd sort of I was saying how much I was enjoying Scholar, and I'd gone back to Vanilla. We spoke about going on the PS3 together, and then PS4 later in the afternoon. To which the least preppy man in podcasting said, "Already made a bro?" No. I told him he should go to prison. He told me he was Crime Boy. So I told him to make a new character called Crime Boy, and I made Good Man. Good Man was a bandit on the face of it, the Batman of Scholar, and underneath the mask he had a gorgeous turquoise locks, a hair and beard combo, heavy makeup, and a pink dragon tattoo so meticulously fashioned that the shocking pink eye of Goodman's eye was also the eye of the dragon. Remove the mask and the feather cape. Makeup and neon colours made our hero look like a compatriot of Bowie, of Andy Warhol. To which Paddy made a bloke who looked like a cross between a dildo and someone you would see on stock Fancy Thing box art. Why?
I just hit the random face button a few times until I had a monster. That'll do. Gave him a beard and slapped it on. I will say, your tattoo, which you are egging up from a distance, does look like someone has pegged you with a yogurt in the face.
Well, it's a beautiful.
And I've seen what that looks like.
I thought you were going to go. And I've had a yogurt.
I went to Download Festival years ago, and there was a Muller Ice truck, and they gave away free Muller Ice, and we went to see a few bands, and someone definitely hucked a Muller Ice at the Wild Hearts.
Yeah. God,
look great.
I have memories of the Wild Hearts. I have distinct memories of the Wild Hearts. Like, this is one of my favourite stories as well, with me and my friend going down to London to join them in the studio, kipping on Hampstead Heath in his car, and eventually getting turfed off after a couple of days by the police, thinking we were a terrorist threat, and us driving back up the motorway, his engine set on fire, literally set on fire.
Nice.
We parked the car at the services, bought some Mr. Kipling's apple and custard tarts and a bottle of pop, and then we got hitched back up to the Midlands on a Apollo Cola lorry.
Wow.
Yeah. Good times.
There you go.
Rock and roll. Yeah. So anyway, that's.
Can I say why I made a boy? I made those boys to make us so we could co-op faster. I thought I'd make the summon signs and get all them done so that we could just go and play. But no, I wasn't allowed to prep this time.
Fashion is important.
I tried. First time I try and prep and I get told not to. I don't know what I can do. So we're going to be divorced by the end of this lockdown, I swear.
Yeah, well, it's been a good run. So this began the new adventures of Goodman and Crime Boy. Forest of the Fallen Giants. No Tubby Cyclops in the river, which I'm fine with, but more or less the same around about the first bonfire. Climb up the first ladder, and there are a few fellas wandering around, rather than loads on the ground waiting to get up. I'm a big fan of vanilla in this regard. Plus, there's a chonky Hydenite at the base of the tree, which provides you with the first OP weapon, should you choose to grind and level up and take him on. Is he chonky than the others? I think so.
I think one of our first discussions was how huge are your balls feeling today? My balls are feeling huge. Let's have a go.
But he just seemed like taller, and chunkier. He just seems larger than the ones that are in like Hyde's Tower of Flame.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe you're right. I'm still not sure because I've seen both now, and I'm still not sure. But I think maybe you could be right. But anyway, maybe it's his imposing air. Maybe it's the air of menace that he gives off. Like, you don't look like a basic guy. You don't look like you don't look like these trash men that are on the floor. You look real.
Right, I will say, like, the ones in Hyde's Tower of Flame do seem a bit smaller, but there is one which is similar to this boy in the gutter. He seems a bit chunkier and a bit more like the one that was at the base of the tree.
But that, really?
Yeah.
Where's he?
He's leaning back against one of the walls. I don't think it's far from that kind of giant creature that sort of dissolves the toxic.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I'll go looking for him later.
So I like that in vanilla because the boys wandering around just come for you anyway. But that's a test. And then, because it is a bit painstaking in Scholar, just wandering and waiting for them to get up and then attacking one-on-one. And seeing the imposing guy at the base of the tree, just thinking, I'll have a go at him, and then get him murdered. And that is your first super test. Never mind any boss later on. But it's also the thing whereby, I've lost 2,000 souls there. I can get back to that and I'll get another 2,000 souls. And then when you do get the Hyder sword, it's got a little bit of frazzle.
Gorgeous sword. That's the sword that took me through most of the game.
It's a good game.
Love that sword.
And a good sword. So speaking of OP stuff, a shout out to the pre-order bonuses for Vanilla.
Oh yeah!
Slightly better weapons with glob on them, recalling and recoiling at the time from all the, oh no, casuals might like it, oh no's.
Total recoil.
Hey!
No, I remember the backlash as well, like, oh my god, but they're slightly better. The stats are a little bit higher, and they're a little bit different. Oh no, this DLC crap will never end. Like, it was fine, but they are no different, really. It's minuscule.
But they look weird, and I like how weird they look. And in Scholar, they don't really sit in the place that they're put. They're too weak for the area that you later find them.
It's like Magarold in Iron Keep, isn't it, or something like that? It's one of the later vendors you find them at.
I wondered if it was actually Drang Lake Castle.
Oh,
I wondered if it was the ghost in Drang Lake Castle, because they were great for early game, because you still had to level to use them, and they weren't perfect, and some of them were quite breakable. But man, I remember the kickoff at the time was huge. Anyway,
I think Crime Boy did use that axe that was covered in chains.
I was using the shield, I think. Oh no, I was using that in Xbox Vanilla because you tried to drop it for me. Because I got a code and the code expired last year, a year ago exactly.
Because whenever you get a game that's got a pre-order code, you think, look at that expiry date, that'll never come up again.
I think in Scholar, when I put the Scholar disc in the Xbox 360, it automatically brought them up. Whereas I presume the Scholar of the first Sin PS3 version must probably do that as well, just boing them straight in. That it's on the disc. But anyway, the forest, it became apparent that you really have to think a bit more about what you're going to do, as the game wouldn't react as quickly, so it almost felt a bit more Demon Souls in that regard.
I'll give you that,
the delay of the 30 frames per second versus 60 in this gen Scholar. You kind of had to think on your feet a little bit more. You had to think a step ahead of yourself. Like, there were times where I'd automatically go to leap out of the way in an instant, and I couldn't. Whereas in Scholar I'd bounce. And
I think because we're used to 60. Like, we're so used to Scholar now, going back to regular 30 frames a second is a little jarring. I think you've got something there. Like, it's still good to look at. It's still nice to look at, but it feels a little different. I do like
that the enemies don't automatically sense you from miles away. That it's possible to creep an existing tension, and there they are. Just into the gates of the Far Fire being an example. Whereas they do pull quite quickly in Scholar, and seemingly from quite crazy distances at times. So yeah, we did the run to the fire sword. So there's no turtle knight guarding the first cave. 2 boys drop down behind you instead when you go in. Well played, vanilla.
Nice trap.
Yeah, otherwise pretty similar. Outside, near the bonfire firebomb shortcut, there's no turtle knights, and I think they make the area. It's a nice crossover with the later parts of the level, plus the heft and danger of them is a test, even before they do their swingy boom. You know, like up near that secret entrance to the bonfire and the far fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like the regular
Hollowman.
Yeah, the Hollowman.
Hollowman.
So I think Scolo gets that bit, but summons. This pertains to my 360 run and the PS3 run, but there were a lot of names which pertained to the world of gaming, and this caught me off guard a bit. It put me in mind of, you know, when they said that the PS3 was going out of production in the West and in South America and places like that. I think it said the PS2 was still going strong.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was the same in this instance. And there were a lot of people playing. Never short of ghosts or summon signs, which aces to see, but the names that were coming up were seemingly quite foreign names, which is why it sent me into that mindset. But literally, active as anything, it was great.
For how long old now? Is it the vanilla still?
Yeah.
You mean, wow.
Yeah.
You'd think with the community being in the place it is now, you'd think the old games would be fairly dead, particularly the vanilla versions, but that's cool to see.
Yeah, I thought so as well. And it was something that I didn't expect. And, you know, within it almost sort of added a little credence to going back and researching it like that, because I didn't think anybody would be on it. But so PS4, I recreated my PS3 fella, but you stepped up. You created something special, and I did not realise how well it would work, or the damage you'd do, or for that matter, how well we would see. Excuse me.
You're too excited. Don't worry. Go with it. Embrace.
Or how well we would sync up in classic TH stylings.
Because here's how we usually play a game together is that I will be Johnny Big Bollocks, I'm at the front, big sword, big weapon, I'm dead. Whereas you will be, I'm going to do a lot of damage, but I'm going to be, you see over there, behind that tree, behind that wall, round the corner, down the road, up that hill, you see the lighthouse, I'm up there. I'm over there, and I'm going to fire trees at the world. I'm going to bring the pain, but from nowhere near you. But I think we've kind of, like you say, found the next level of that. Because I've decided on my Scott, initially at least, we'll get there, that I was going to try doing a shield run, because I heard it was possible, and, you know, mixes it up, bit different, innit? I've done the one, bro. Like, I wanted another challenge. Like, so a shield run felt like a good thing to try next. I researched a little bit about what shields were good, and I had to pick the knight starting class because he's the only one who starts with a damn shield. Otherwise, I'd have been in trouble. And I must say, the first couple of hours running through the things betwixt, battering hollows to death with a bin lid. Oh, that was fun. Very slow, but very amusing. Just this big silver, literally Oscar the Grouch bin lid, just like bang, 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 stamina, bang. I had a lot of fun with it. And I think I've used different shields since. That was a small shield, which means when you attack, you block while you're attacking, so you can kind of hide behind your shield and just kind of like jut it out. Whereas the larger shields don't have that, but you can literally smash a boy to pieces with them. So trade-offs, you see, trade-offs. And I also did a little bit of extra work as well, because I thought I'm going to be a Mr. Helpful. I'm going to be a Jonathan Helpingman. And I went and bought the Red Eye Ring as well from Alvina in Majula. Now, the Red Eye Ring, for those who don't know, is the ring that gives you extra aggro, so people look at you more. You become the target. And I thought, if we're going to be a co-op run, what's a good co-op idea? to be Mr. Shield that stands and takes all the hits while Friend runs in and stabs everyone in the booty. And I must say, I went and bought a twin Dragon Great Shield, I think, from Mofflin in Majula as well. I leveled it up a little bit. And I've got to say, it worked super good, super early. We did great.
Because I was kind of trying to walk back within the shoes of the way that I originally played the game. So I was going for, like, you know, the fire sword and like a nice shield, and I don't know, I didn't want to do a different run. I wanted to walk in those shoes of the original. But
what would you say, like, what felt natural, what felt like, yeah, this feels like a good choice for me, this feels nice.
I think all of this journey was doing something that felt comfortable, and falling into a game that I truly loved but hadn't given as much time as, you know, a number of years ago, where it became the most personal game to me. Like, it became my favourite game of all time. So yeah, I mean, I was set to do, like, pokey stabby stuff whilst you were kind of drawing them in, blocking them, and then finishing them off. And it's a surprise how much damage you were doing with those shields.
It should be said, my character is extra thick as well. I made the thickest, heaviest boy looking I could. He's got a badunk a dunk. The enemies aren't coming for the red eye ring; they're coming for that ass.
Well, they were only human. They're now not.
They're only subhuman.
So yeah, we were setting up our characters on PS4, and what you did not expect was, in the time that we broke for dinner, I was scheming. That I was thinking of streaming. I sorted out my PS4, I took the steps, I got it up and running, joined by a select group of folks, all who said hi, chatted merrily, and then they got to hear our daft soul-spaced natters and shaming, and I loved it. And then my screen went off. The stream was still going, the telly was still on, but no picture. Reselected the screen, it was fine. But soon after, the Pro shut down entirely, hard crashed, and the game's save file corrupted, so I had to start again.
Oh, I remember.
People in chat...
that feels like years ago now.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
People in chat were ace, though, and we laughed it off. I went off on one in a sort of stage way about the untimely death of someone that summoned me, Silver Yamato, which led me to recalling classic actors reenacting old pop arguments. You remember that one?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, Brittany, how could you? I looked up to you. I always thought you were a bitch. Christina, you were just on my coattails. I was doing my best. Well, your best wasn't good enough. The songs we shared songwriters. How dare you? Hit Me Baby One More Time was the greatest pop song. You don't deserve to breathe my air. So I was doing versions of that as I tried to catch up and stuff. But we had a massive laugh. And then I was invaded and destroyed, but I was fine with it. So there was then, throughout my Xbox run, I'd been putting up pictures on Twitter, and the love for the game that was coming back through was great. This game that apparently people bin off and everybody hates has, like, such a glowing response from so many people, and I love that. But streams then became a mixture of me relaxing into small little runs and maybe not making too much progress, but just chatting everything, like important stuff in life during a crisis and a pandemic, like crisp sandwiches, which is the best flavour of crisp for crisp sandwiches. Some Americans went, "What is a crisp sandwich?"
Behave.
That was my response, and so I had to say, take a slice of bread, butter it thickly, put your crisps or chips, as you call them, onto the bread. You can either lay them together or you can lay some on top, some extra on top, that's fine. Then take another similarly sliced and buttered bit of bread and crunch it into the others so hard that you can see your actual handprint and then eat it. And we're talking about crisp sandwiches. We're talking about sandwiches, actual sandwiches that you can put crisps into to make them better. Like I heard on Desert Island Crisps somebody saying like, oh, I'll get like an egg sandwich and I'll put some cheese and onion crisps in the middle and it will make it better. Or we were talking about that. We were talking about X-Men. We were talking about Jeremy turned up and talked about, I don't know, like squid, something, squid gumbo or something. I don't know. And it just had a really good time. And then there were the streams where you and I co-opted, and we just,
which was I would categorise as pure classic chaos.
Yeah, I think
delicious chaos.
I think as much as we like having a laugh on and catching up on podcasts, there was something sort of quite nice to see us live in that regard. I'm not talking about from an audience point of view to see us live, but for us to exist live and be answering the questions and having a giggle and bringing people in and beating stuff up and looking at the different scenery and noticing things and
developing relationships with invaders.
Yes, some more than others, and being introduced to their children. But I still love that. It was like I taught him how to invade, but I did not tell him how to finish the game. He can do that on his own. He doesn't even speak like that. But
good parenting.
Yeah, it is good parenting. So yeah, it went on, and it was just daft. And I think there was a certain point where you were getting a little bit wound up early on, and I was like, there's a degree of spectacle to this when we're playing together, which is great. And the nice thing afterwards, which came early on but has continued, has been people that have been tuning in, and on my sort of smaller streams, folks have been giving some quite horrific specifics as to what they're going through or what the partner's going through, or worries that they've got and stuff. And people were saying earlier on, oh, thanks for doing this. And I was kind of feeling that in my own way, because it's I live on my own. I'm not particularly close with my family and stuff, but I was having a chat with the family that I know from Souls directly. And the one day that I took off, due to getting a
shit day,
surprisingly low pay packet came through, much less than kind of I thought was coming through. And I'd spoken to my boss that day, who's going through sort of her own sort of like family stuff. And when I was speaking to my boss, I could hear my voice wobbling a bit, and I was like, I don't think I can do a stream today. I really missed it, and I realised what those people do for me during the course of a day, because I get so much connection and so much enjoyment out of it. And like I say, hearing that coming back has been lovely in of itself.
Because the chat's just full of good people. They're good people.
Yeah, really good people. And
all of you.
But then we had this little idea, and it took a little while to get into action. But when it got into action, we were excited for it. People were excited for it. We were going back to Team Pantu Punchu. Would you like to tell people and remind them
the history of Team Pantu Punchu, the origin?
Yeah,
Team Pantu Punchu Genesis. Team Pantu Punchu
Origins.
I think, the origin story. I think it came about. I think it was originally while we were playing. I think this was my second run on the PS3. I was doing a fist run on the PS3 because I thought it'd be fun. Because the Cestus they'd really improved the dual, like the power stance of it, so you could do more moves. It's a bit more flexible. Like, it was viable. And I kind of like punching things in games, and I remember running through it, having fun with it. And it was hard, but I was having a good time. And I remember getting to the Belfry, and just hanging out there for a bit, naked and having a good time, and then sort of sending you a couple of messages going, "Do you want to jump on one night with me? This is pretty fun. Like, this is good." And I think we spent 2 or 3 evenings just hanging about in the Belfry in our keks with a pair of cestises, taking on all comers. And this is when the game was still fairly new, wasn't it? So we were getting invasions every 5 minutes. Like, it was busy.
There were generally two different kinds of invaders. There were the first lot were the sort that would be dressed like gods, and they would come in. They would think that for some reason we were stupendously overpowered.
Because we were nude.
Because we were nude except for dual cestus. And they would be very cautious. Or there were those people that would come through that would wave, that see that we were almost naked, and shed themselves of all of their clothes to fight us. And those
do a fun emote and then play properly. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So I think I always liked to. I never felt bad if one of those guys won, because nope, well done, you fought on the rules.
Yeah,
if a god came through who turned their sword electrical fire, full Havel armor, bright glowing sword, I killed one of those guys with nothing but fall damage because he kept following me down a hole, and I had the ring on, and it's so funny because he kept doing it.
As it's called.
Oh, it's my special place. It's my home planet where I live. And we had we did a good podcast about it. We had some fun. I think, was that our Christmas episode?
I don't remember. But we fancied doing that again because
it was our Christmas episode because we did this fairy tale of New York, didn't we? It was our Christmas episode that year. Absolute Team Pantu Punchu, and I think you dubbed it Team Pantu Punchu, and it stuck super hard, and it was fun. And then we sort of forgot about it for a few years, didn't we? It was just a fun thing we did. And then as we were getting closer to the Belfry on this, it's remember Team Pantu Punchu?
I think we were still a way away.
But we were closing in for sure.
And I was just we should do Team Pantu Punchu again. And we were and I think you stumbled over your words for about half a second and then just went, yes. So we'd obviously upgraded ourselves as human beings, but we were the weapon. The weapons weren't upgraded. We were just wearing underwear.
Literally, base level cestus, no upgrades.
What could we do? Well, we were surprised exactly what we could do because we essentially turned the game into Streets of Rage, and we were just crowding things and super battering them and having such a great time.
If this was a wrestling thing, they would be, they're raining down blows. Pum, 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 pum. The level of ponk we were achieving. We beat an invader, didn't we? We definitely beat a real invader in that place. We knocked his face off.
We had a couple, yeah. Which felt good because they were quite smartly dressed. And I will say as well, just to interject here before we move on, we did get some amazing drops from McSmelt, which was fun.
McSmelt, truly the best invader we've ever known.
Yeah.
McSmelt is a god who comes in and has been watching the streams, which is nice, and he'll drop things that we need and then annihilate us. But that's fine, and he'll play along.
But sometimes there are nice sweet things. Sometimes we'll get murdered. The McSmelt giveth and the McSmelt taketh away, and sometimes the McSmelt introduces us to his 12-year-old son who invades us and has a pop as well.
Who also taketh away.
Yeah, who also taketh away.
Almost exclusively taketh away.
Yeah. So yeah, there's been a couple of invaders, some that have worn different balaclavas, shall we say, and haven't always kind of played with the same degree of kind of wry smile and kind
play
of
in the space with us.
Yeah,
play in the space. We're doing silly. Be silly with us.
Yes, that's all we ask. But yeah, and
it goes so that I think any time McSmelt has invaded, we've always gone, what is it this time? What's it this time?
But why?
We'll get to one of those at the end there. But no, McSmelt and also Son, whose name we won't say because, it's 12. Shout outs to you and your boy. You've been fun.
Yeah.
10.2 and your boy.
But sadly not always been.
Thought it was important to get that out there, which was important.
Yeah.
But no, we panted up, we punchued up, and I would say our prowess in the Belfry was nothing short of fucking spectacular.
We were surprising ourselves and having a ridiculous amount of fun. Possibly the most fun that we've had beating stuff up. I was out of my comfort zone because I couldn't snipe. You were kind of out of your comfort zone because you couldn't like hit something with something massive and up close. So
no, I was hitting him with something small and I'm close instead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you to death with this glove.
How's about these apples? But yeah, we which was the oh god, we did the gargoyles and we did them
we
good.
did the level. We went round. So me and you ran through. I think I joined you first. We cleared out the tower, went upstairs, cleared out all the enemies upstairs, rang the bell, felt pretty good about ourselves. We killed one invader, and we got to the door, and you're like, "Oh, should we put our gear back on?" And I was like, "No." What do you mean? It's like, should we put our gear? No, fuck off. We're doing this naked. Let's go. Go through the door now. Go through. And I think you'd forgotten it was the gargoyles, hadn't you?
I completely had forgotten.
She went through and
but there was the great moment afterwards where we got the
that's
first...
my go to bed alarm. 1 second. Please continue.
There was a similar moment afterwards from you where the first gargoyle landed and we cleared it really quickly and we saw like the health like going down in big chunks and we just went, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on here? This is weird.
Well, the thing is, I think our strategy we used was a very, very Four Kings strategy, I think we noticed while we were doing, which was one turns up, rush that bastard down first, then go for the next one, rush him down, just focus on one. I think when we did that on my save, I got hit once the whole fight. It was amazing, and we weren't even dodging that hard. Like I was just running behind them and like just punching him in the butt, just punching him over and over. Like I wasn't even trying to dodge. I was just walking around. We were incredible. Like I cannot believe how well it went, and how well it went twice in a row because we did it on my save again, and we're equally as good. I was so impressed, and it's like this was fun, and we thought. I think at the time, like I'd imagined that we would have been there for the whole session. Like I'd have thought we would have been in the Belfry, would have got invaded a few times, we'd had some problems because, you know, we're naked and with bad weapons, like we wouldn't have had a good time. We annihilated it so quick, like, well, what else have we got to do?
We forgot to invade each other.
We did.
That's how much fun that we had. But we then went ridiculously into Iron Keep. And went through that.
It was Mytha. It was Earthen Peak first.
Oh, God,
I hadn't done the snake. And there was a definite moment where you were trying to get me to go back and get Manhunter Ahara. I didn't want to. We picked up
she's
Thomas.
My wife.
I know, but she was miles back. We picked up Thomas and we're walking towards it. And I think you said, one fireman and two naked boys go to fight a tentacle man. I was like, is this hentai? This is hentai. We've done a hentai. We're going to get banned on Twitch for this. This is porn.
I was like, I'm wandering into poison with my legs out.
Oh, it's good. And the thing is, it sloughs off fast. It's like posties when they don't wear trousers in the rain because your legs dry faster. The poison doesn't soak into your trousers if you're not wearing any. And we did. I would say Jester Thomas did some of the work, but I think we did rather well.
Yeah, it was a good time, and again, a surprising time because we thought we were going in underpowered. But we were surprised at the amount of damage that we were doing and how successful we were doing it by literally, seemingly like rugby huddling them with punches, like scrumming them with punches.
So for those that haven't seen it, that's what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's like. Just punch, 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 and the thing fall down. It's very empowering.
Fist of the North Star, isn't it? So we then went into Iron Keep, which seemed
I think you were still like... I think you were like, should we put our gear back on? I was so steadfast. I was like, no, stay nude.
But as soon as that was agreed, that was fine. And because everything seemed ridiculous at that point. Plus, there was the two of us on stream, which was good. And we then made our way through to 2 lots of smelter and had a time.
Oh my god, yeah!
Which was really good.
Do you want to do smelter? Like, let's do smelter. Like, really? Fuck it, let's go do smelter.
Yeah, and we had a time, and I think the second one we ran it pretty close. Although a lot of the time I was having such an amount of fun, I didn't realise where the health bar was until probably about 3/4 of the way in. So we did that, and then you went, "Hey, look at me!" And you got the turtle top on.
Yeah, I got a lucky drop from one of those big turtle knights and put it on. Like, look at me, I'm a turtle.
So then I decided that should be a thing, and you were like, "What? Really?" And I was like, "Yes, really." And then I realized,
the rules again.
I realized that we could amend Team Pantupunchu to Team Ace Mutant Pantupunchu, and that stuck.
It was good.
And then
I had another one drop because you'd already got rid of your armor. I had another one drop later in the level. Like, we do this? Yeah, you can have 100%
doing it. So we decided that we were going to eventually upgrade those. I think that came afterwards, didn't it? We were going to upgrade, and we were going to pick a power for them. But
we did the old Iron King first. Didn't we?
We did the old Iron King first, and somebody. It was as if you were possessed by the mind of a twat.
It was incredible.
What did you do? Give people an idea of your opening gambit.
What I did is first run. So we'd shared our outfits. We had Manhunt. I think Manhunter O'Hara was joining us, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. My wife was here now. I wouldn't leave Laura behind, but no.
So we dressed up, and we headed in, and then the boss turned up, and immediately I'm thinking, what are we doing? Is this a bad idea? This feels like a bad idea. And as he got near, he did a big swing of his arm, and I thought, I'll just walk backwards to get out of the way of his swing and walk straight into the lava. Just immediately. I think you'd walk through the boss door, and then I died. And you're like, what happened? Which set me laughing because it was quite funny.
It did. You were chain laughing, and the thing that you missed in the aftermath of that was when we got back together and we both went down to the boss. Manhunter O'Hara was still in the room. It was just like, nah, he's a joke. I'm not coming. And then I sort of stood there looking, and my wife was like, all right. So then we started doing it, and you were getting battered. It was
a bad one.
It was me, the worst of the two of us, that was pulling out the pro MVP jumping stuff.
I was playing a fucking shocker. I was getting hit by every punch, every slap. My timing was off. I kept throwing fire bombs at him.
Yeah, the one thing that would never do anything. Damage. Yeah. And then, amidst all of your natural rubbishness at this point, you were determined to put sparklies on the floor.
I had to put a prism stone down. You had to know.
And then
that's when we had what? How much health would you say you had left? Maybe 2%?
It was maybe 1 or 2 punches left. And what would you do if confronted by a field of lava, a massive, giant Harryhausen creature that was almost at death? Would you wait for that final blow to come down so you could hammer him with a fist, or would you do a cricket?
I wanted to put a little bit of spice on the end. I wanted to finish him with style. And I like to finish things with firebombs or throwing knives because you feel a bit all in your face, consumable kill. And I ran up to the front and I hucked a firebomb, which didn't do enough damage to kill him. But the act of hucking the firebomb sent me over the edge into the lava. In front of him.
It was just bizarre. It was almost it was
my mind.
The other bookend of just Billy Belland walking off the edge of the lava.
Absolute ninnery. Ninnery.
You were machine gun laughing at that point.
I lost it. I couldn't deal anymore.
I don't think I've ever heard you laugh in the way that you laughed at both of those instances.
It was like you say, both ends of the dumb stick. First end was not paying attention. Second end was not paying attention, but at the later part. But I think the third run was then just as funny for me. I really enjoyed the third run. Because I think I put down 3 prism stones and I was throwing knives at him while you were telling me off the whole time.
The wonderful thing as well, before that, was me being there every day, you obviously being there where you can, build up a relationship with my audience.
Yeah.
And there was a bit previously where you dunked me in lava. And I was like, Paddy, what are you doing?
I maintain.
And then he was like, what? It must have been you. And I was like, I was fighting a thing on there. Did you run across one of the platforms? And I was, and you were like, no. I was like, chat, clip it. And then I just had the proof where I look back with you just running straight across the switch in full view.
I will maintain that I definitely thought I didn't hit that. I felt for sure I'd socially distanced that button and gone around it.
Did you jump over it? Is that what you did? Just circumstance.
Now we said I stayed out of melee range. It's my favourite 2 metre thing. But yeah, it would seem that I did step on it, but it didn't look like it in my save. It looked like I'd avoided it, but maybe the hitbox is bigger than it looks. I don't know. But I apologise if I dunked you in. I wasn't trying to.
But we
ended up going different places and we had an invasion. You're like, where is he? Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, we then went to Dranglake Castle and tried to get near to the bonfire as I had on my own a few days previously
with a weapon. It must be said.
Yeah, but I was getting invaded by all of the invaders, one after the other, and then after the other. Yeah, we had a fun time trying to get to there with fist weapons and.
I literally got to the bottom of the stairs. We just about met up. Like I was right, put your sign down, and McSmelt turned up. Like not now, but. As we were saying before, McSmelt was always one to play with shenanigans. We were talking out which one of the turtles would be. McSmelt runs down with the ironclad armour on, hollowed out so he looks green, with a blue mask on his face and 2 swords. Well played.
Can't argue with it.
Well played, McSmelt. I can't argue. He destroyed me, but when I realised what had happened, I was like, I can't be angry. No. I wanted to reach that bonfire, but I can't be angry with that.
See, this is what I love when the game is played. When the game is played, where you realise there's kind of a wry sense of humour.
And I will say, each fight we've had with McSmelt and his son, I would say, particularly on those stairs, all the fights I had today on those stairs were close. There was 1 or 2 hits in it. It was not a sponk, like a smashing, like you'd expect. It was... It could have gone either way. It was only for sure panic and ninnery at the end. I'm saying ninnery a lot today. Panic and failure that did me at the end, but... Oh, what a good one. But then again, slapping with 2, and I must say, Dark Infusion, very bad infusion for me. Hasn't helped. It's made them infinitely worse. They were better, non-upgraded. I've since changed my cestus to fire now because I just couldn't deal with the fact they were doing less damage than they were unupgraded as Dark, because they scale off of the lowest of your int or magic or faith. Sorry, and I'm no. So I have fire fists now, but I've got through that level. I bought my big shields, which I'm now dual wielding the Orma and Reeve great shields, which are disgusting. You can literally make a sandwich out of a person with a smash. It's very, very good. So we can now continue from Drangers.
Because you see, I mean, we've had 2 main invaders. There's been McSmelt and there's been Blazing. And early on, it seemed like Blazing was playing his own kind of game, which was fun. Was it Blazing that was in?
I think Blazing
Hyde's Tower of Flame.
Yeah, he left me 9 different drops. Each one of them was a dung pie.
Yeah, and I
thought that was quite funny.
I think there's been drops there as well, but there was kind of some fun battles, and the Sinner fight where he signed down, and then was almost like healing Sinner was great, and it seems like afterwards that kind of playfulness hasn't been there anymore, and they've just been kind of overpowered invasions. And I quite like the fact when Blazing was kind of doing like McSmelt was doing, that he was kind of playing the game. Sometimes it would be a drop, sometimes it would be a cheeky co-op, sometimes it would be like a big fight. But it's always more fun when it seems that there's a little bit of cosplay in there. There's a little bit of I could lose this, or I'm up against 2 boys. We'll try it with it. When there's just that kind of. It just feels like someone's having fun, and I haven't felt that recently, which is a real shame because I've enjoyed all of these streams a great deal, but sometimes it's
that moment with the Lost Sinner was incredible.
It was
when we worked out what was
so
happening.
much fun.
because we'd been invaded by him a couple of times and it hadn't gone well for us, but it'd been okay. I was like, oh, he's dropped a sign. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. Oh my god, we've got a friend. Let's bring him in. Hey, the team's here. And we ran in and he dropped warmth and we're like, yeah, this is going to be fine. And it's like, he's not attacking.
But
the sinner's health's going back up. Oh my god.
We were laughing so hard, but that's when that's been the case. When sort of blazing's been kind of like Smelt has, that's what's made it so much fun. Especially when it's the two of us, because there's this kind of more jeopardy and stuff like that. When at times recently it hasn't felt like that, and it's not. It's.
Would you say it takes the wind out of you a little bit? You just like, it's exhausting dealing with a normal invader.
I wouldn't say that. It's just that when you've you feel like you've built up like a degree of cheeky rapport, and then all of a sudden it feels like that isn't there anymore. I just think it's a shame because
top 10 animated betrayals.
Yeah, because there's been so much fun within this stuff. So all I'll say is I just hope that kind of that cheekiness comes back, because I like it when people cosplay and
muck about and play with us play in the space with us.
Yeah. What I have to say, like, being the bad guy is part of the game, so I can't really complain. It's just that within the spirit of these last couple of weeks, that's generally been the kind of the push pull all along. It's been the chat, it's been the unknown, it's been noticing stuff, it's been getting beyond everything that's happening outside of our doors. So yeah, it's been a fun one all told, and we are having an amazing time. So for everybody that's interacted with us, whether you be chaotic good, chaotic evil, or on my side, on Paddy's side, talking about crisps, whatever it might have been, we had a whole time talking about next gen and the DualSense pad. And, I kind of like that stuff. And sometimes, especially in my own streams, it just becomes a little more relaxed than right. Let's have a bit of a natter, and then things go a bit hyper when you and I get
chaos ensues.
Yeah. So that's where we're at on DS2. How do you feel having returned to it now?
Oh, it's so much fun. And I would say for me, it's not so much a return as just a refresh of that sort of earlier sort of run, because I'm not that far off finishing the Dark Souls 2 One Break. That finished in just before the baby was born. In fact, mid-November, I think I managed to finish that off, which I was still to this day so happy I got it done before the baby turned up. Like, there's a point, I think I was either fighting the cat Ava or the Smelter Demon, where I literally put the controller down and yelled, "We might beat the child!" Like, where I realised what was happening, like how well I was doing. Like, we might do this. And after losing to Fume Knight so many times, I was very happy. So I wouldn't say that it's been much of a return, more of a resurgence, or more of a retrospective sort of run through, like more of a normal run. I say that, normal run. I've got a shield and also Pantu Punchu, so maybe it's not a normal run, but it's giving some of that spice back and keeping it fresh. It's just a good game. It's fun to play through again, and every time we're not on stream, like, it hurts, yes, I have a child now. Yes, I have to look after the baby. Laura, don't look at me like that. I am doing my fair share. But, like, every time I can't get on with you, I want to be at least on the chat, like, chatting away as well. Like, baby in my lap, watching you on the telly. I mean, we had the other day, I was sat at the computer. She was sat on my lap. You were streaming away, and she was sat there staring at you, beating the crap out of the computer desk, which was really funny.
Yeah, and you sent me some footage of her, like, looking as Uncle CJ sort of.
I still need to put that on the thing for you. Yeah, I will do that. I forgot,
because it's cool. But I think maybe the resurgence for you, which is also a me thing, is kind of us doing this, because we used to co-op quite a lot back in the day on PS3, and we've joked about putting a sign down and like swapping our weapons in and out like we used to do on PS3 to try and pick one another up on the signs and stuff. So it's been us returning not only to playing together but playing Souls together, and that it makes me
that for ages, have we?
But it makes me realise kind of how special my best friend is to me, and kind of, you know, the bond that we built up over all these years, and since we first started this. Also, you know, of the community that we've built, because we do laugh a lot and we get things wrong and we're not brilliant at it, and we'll never give you accurate builds or stats or lore stuff, but we've always had a laugh with people, and it's been nice over the years that the people that enjoy the show are the people that kind of like us being chatty, and that's why it's translated really well to Twitch, because it just feels like we're getting a level of back and forth that we don't tend to get with the show. And, you know, we can think that we're a small guy and maybe nobody listens to us that much in the first place, but it's been that core audience that we've had day to day has been amazing. It's been just so warm and so wonderful, and it does me the power of good. It impacts
those same names that come up every day, like, hey, you're back in the chat, hey, how you doing today? Like, it's
nice to know how people are doing, yeah, and even you know, when folks watch the videos on demand afterwards, and that's taken me back quite a bit. So for everybody that's done that, that's spoken to us, it's just been aces. Thank you.
Same here. It's been delight. Every time I can get on is great, and every time I can't get on, I miss it.
So you are doing a Demon's Souls 1 bro run.
Yeah, I am again, because we've all got time on our hands now, and I think after the
Twin Humanities Media Empire
begins.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when I finished Souls 2 and done it, and I must say, actually, this is the thing I enjoyed the most. Actually, when we started playing again, do you know what it was? I leveled up. I haven't leveled up in one of these games in about 3 years. It's like, I'm level 2. Hey, I've just upgraded my body instead of having to deal with rags for the rest of the game. Oh, that really did bring a smile to my face. But when I finished Dark Souls 2, like, I was very much at the point where I was thinking, well, you know, baby's almost here. I'm probably not going to be able to do this again for a while. Like, this is just, it's not going to happen. You know, if she doesn't want to sleep very well in the evenings, or, you know, if she's going to need more attention than we can give her, and we're going to be busy at night, I'm just not going to get time. Like, you know, I've got to be dad for a bit, you know. And that's, you know, that was a worry. You know, I was legitimately quite, I mean, the last episode, I nearly choked up a little bit at the end. I nearly went. I was like, I'm going to miss this. This is really good. And obviously, you know, the world events have conspired to basically give me, you know, a few weeks at home of paternity leave, which is, you know, every cloud has a silver lining. You know, we're being safe ourselves, staying in, and it's been nice to sit there and just spend the day with the baby. But also, it's allowed me to see that there is space to do this again, and I did miss it, and I do have time now. And while I wanted to look at Bloodborne, and I did want to look at, again, I've kind of want to get on Dark Souls 3 as well. Something in me said maybe Season 3 should be Dark Souls 3, but then I thought, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not there with it yet. And because in my head Bloodborne has to be Season 4, because Blood Level 4 has to be Season 4, that's why it has to be Season 4. It left one choice, and that choice was Demon's Souls, a game that I don't think I've played in about 4 years. Like, outside of when we used to play, you know, that's, like you say, the one we used to have our Skype. I had Skype on my Vita, and we chat on the Vita while we were playing together. Like, I remember it vividly. But yeah, it's like, no, I can do Demons. And like, I did a bit of research, and doesn't look like it's going to be the worst one by a mile. Like, if I can do Souls 2 and Souls 1, I can do this. Like, it's not going to be terrible. And yeah, just kind of, I was in the mood for it. I think like with you and DS2, like, I think, yeah, I want to do that. I'm in the mood for this. I want to have a go at this. Like, I'm up for it.
Do you remember us trying to co-op in the early days of that?
Okay, so I actually listened to me telling Jeremy this story again, because quick plug, I went on Don't Give Up Skeleton again this week. Back on, we've been talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's like, no, let's do it. We've got time. Let's do it. And part of that was listening back to the episode I recorded with him 4 years ago. I mean, same time you did yours, 4 years ago now. And was telling him the story about how our first co-op experience was me and you in, I think it was 4-1, with no voice chat, pointing, with you just running around and pointing at
was.
everything, and me running behind you and doing the little bow and the wave, because I had no other form of communication with you at the time. It was just we were chatting on the forum, and that was it. There was no voice chat, there was nothing, and it was so silly. I remember just you stood on a battlement just pointing, and then me running behind you about 2 minutes later because of the lag in kind of noticing what was going on. Oh, it's so good. It was so good. And then again, once we sort of got the Skype working, and again with DS1, sort of hot swapping back and forwards to try and make summon signs appear, it was just nice to kind of like revisit that a little bit, and kind of go back to that. So yeah, I commissioned another art from lovely friend Wayne at Onside7 on Twitter. I love Wayne. His art is so perfect for what I like. Like, it's that sort of good, chunky, good cartoon. And I really dig his art. He's a lovely bloke as well. And I thought, well, there's only one person I want to do this now. He did my one bro for number 2, and he's going to do the one bro for number 3 as well. And I managed to get Laura and Violet in there as well, because, you know, they're a big as part of this as anything, to be fair. Always felt a bit guilty that I didn't have Laura on the Dark Souls 2 one, because like she was there the entire time as well. So I made the effort, and it's really, really nice. It's the first picture we've had done of a family properly.
Yeah, it's really good. There's a lot of personality in it. I like it.
Some people go to Olan Mills and get their photos taken in some weird smoky white backdrop where they're all wearing nice shirts, whereas me and Laura got a picture made of us in cosplay. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. Got that put together. I didn't want to start until that had come through. So I asked Wayne, and we got it all sorted out, and it came through. It's so good. And yeah, I think it was about 3 weeks ago now. We said, look, let's just do this. Let's sit down, get a few questions, and just begin. Oh, Demon's Souls is good, though, isn't it?
That atmosphere, I think, is absolutely unsurpassed. It's still
perfect.
there. And then I remember Laura saying on one of the early episodes, I think it might even been the first episode, where she was like, "Oh, it's like all of the textures have been stripped out and stuff, but there is something still really pure and terrifying about it." And in walking through with just the lamp on your side, and just the level of darkness, and that even the background noises, you know, like, I mean, I know you've not gotten to there yet, but when you get to like World 3 and you're hearing the ting,
oh, don't,
and you know that there's so much existing in that space, or I think it might even be further on in World 3, where you just hear that dum, 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 like in the distance, almost like a kind of distant heartbeat or a rave, or
I was telling Laura about this on we were walking through 2-2 at the time. I was telling her that you can hear breathing. Like, you can hear those Red Eye Knights just breathing, and you know they're there somewhere, but you can't see them.
And even 4-1, like, seeing those Cylon skeletons just sort of curl up and start rolling down the stairs seems really surreal. And there's something... I always think the most Harryhausen of all of these games is Demon's Souls, but there's something you can imagine, that otherworldly, personal stop motion on those, like, rolling down the stairs, and there's something definitely clockwork about that level, which is super disturbing. Like, things are just wound up and walk back and forth in places, or are angry, or the way that they throw a sword is just very deliberate and very programmed, but in kind of a really otherworldly way. And there's decisions there which are so subtle and so off kilter, but they still sing when you play it back.
100%. Like, you do. It's the Harryhausen thing, yeah. That's almost perfect. Like, that's exactly what it feels like. 4-1 particularly. I've spent a bit of time in 1-1. I dipped my toe in 4-1 so far to get the Crescent Falchion, and then ran away, because I've met the black skeleton with the red eyes and the two katanas, and did not want anything to do with him, and ran like Billy-O. I remember trying to fight him in the past. They were bad time. And I spent a lot of time in Stonefang in World 2. Level's...
It's a beast.
Beastly.
It's a beast.
2-2 in particular. Me and Laura spent, this is not an exaggeration, 4 episodes, I think, being lost in that level.
But
I picked up so much stuff, like upgrade materials, because this game has an equip load thing. So many upgrade materials, I couldn't pick anything else up, and I had to stop exploring and go back. Like, I don't remember the last time that happened to me in one of these games. But I cannot remember.
There's something about, like, looking back on PS1 with the first Tomb Raider, and where the save crystals were, that if you got to a certain point in a level that was completely new to you, you would literally be walking. You wouldn't be running into it. And in the second game, it would just be like, right, you could save wherever you wanted, get to a new level, right, save it. Get to a new bit, I've got past those guys that I couldn't get past, save it. And whilst it was the natural progression of it, there's still something to be said for that first Tomb Raider and that level of tension and the jeopardy of making progress. And I think that Demon's Souls did that really well. And because I was saying to you, do you think that Souls have become too bloated? And because Demon's Souls has very specific levels with just one bonfire at the start, one bonfire at the end, and it plays about that with that a lot. And you were saying like, I'd like to see it where there's levels turn back in on themselves, because Immortal Unchained did that really well. But
Surge did that really well.
But then when I was watching you play through Boletarian Palace, which is still a phenomenal level, that level is turning in on itself so often. But then you get to 4-1, and that's very it's very linear in the way that it leads you to the boss. But then you go to like 2-1 and 2-2, and that is a stretch. That is a stretch. But then but then that goes to like World 3, where it's tiny platforms and a really enclosed space. So each of these levels, it's not giving us like 20 odd levels or whatever. Each of these levels is doing something very specific and very particular, and I don't think any of them outstay their welcome.
No, I don't think I'm going to have that sort of, oh Christ, like going to any of these levels. I'm even looking forward to the Valley of Defilement, which is poison toxic hell town, isn't it?
Valley of Defilement
does
a thing whereby the way that it plays about with perspective,
I
still don't understand, because there's you've not only got like all the blood and guns sort of running down, and the way that everything looks like it's collapsed and is still collapsing, but there's a way that sometimes that an enemy that you think is a certain distance away is actually a larger enemy that's closer. And the way that it kind of skews how... And also those larger enemies move quicker. And the way that it plays about with the perspective in the level and the things that it shows you versus the size of the enemies and the quickness of the way that they attack. But then that level in of itself like opens out into that massive poison swamp.
Oh God! God! I've forgotten about that. Okay, there it is. There it is. I was wrong. Oh no!
But like you can analyze each of these levels, and they're technically probably smaller than most regular Souls levels. But do we really need 20 levels when you've got the levels that you've got in the worlds that you've got in Demon's Souls that are they feel so finessed and curated. And this,
do you think part of that is because they've been separated up into their own archstone? Like it's not a single connected world, which a lot of people bemoan. I've seen online a lot of people like, oh no, I prefer it when it all clips together like a real world. And I agree, like Dark Souls 1's world design is fabulous, like it's brilliant. But I think by allowing these different archstones to go to completely different places, you haven't got to build that narrative of like, well, how do we get from the nice castle to the dirty mine?
But
what's between that? Like you don't have to. Like you can just have the dirty mine and the horrible prison.
But you've also got that the Nexus is one of the greatest places in all of Souls, and it's not just a hub world. It's a place where kind of criminal acts exist. like subterfuge, like the way it stretches up with the Maiden in Black is fantastic. And you know that entrance to the Nexus when you first get in there, the way that the camera moves, the design work, and I know it's become like a running joke between us about Demon Souls remake, and like I'm so connected to this game, and to hear "Dost thou seek soul power" once more, yeah, and knowing what Blue Point did with Shadow of the Colossus, and that we might even get the Sixth Archstone this time, is just kind of.
And it's Bloodborne.
No, but it just fills me with kind of a sense of pride, of like romance, in the same ways we've been going through like Dark Souls 2. But I think it's a game that's special, and it's the anomaly in all of these games now that it's the least accessible game to the people that have played these games. And
I've mentioned it a few times. Everyone says, I won't be able to play it because I haven't got a PS3. And
yeah.
I think the fact the servers are gone now, it's been a very odd not seeing ghosts. I mean, there are still ghosts running around in the game. So there's something there. But they're like... I mean, Laura noticed this. We saw one run over and use a switch into one, I think it was. They use a switch to lower things. Like, are they there just to give you an idea, like, go over there and touch that? Like, is that what that's for, maybe? But like, you don't see the messages on the floor, and you don't see, you can't bring anyone in. There are no summons, there are no invasions, and it's a little bit. Partly there's that jeopardy of, well, I've got to do everything myself now, but there's also the jeopardy of, like, could have been fun to have an invader at some point, or it would have been fun. And there are ways you can get around it. I think there's a server you can set up if you want to mess with your router connections, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to risk messing up my PS3. But like, it's just a shame that all that stuff isn't there anymore. And the old monk fight, where is a PvP fight with a weirdo, is just going to be against the AI now. It's going to feel like a little bit of not a letdown, but it's going to feel like I've not done the full experience in a way.
There's certain things, like the more that I think about Demon Souls, like those spiders in like is it 3-3? Those kind of spider creatures with the almost like, again, like Harryhausen faces that you can cut off, and the way that they crawl in the water, and they come up onto the decking, and just or even the really small like walkway that you've got when you fight the big gargoyle creatures, the two of them, and how scary that is. Basically, because you're on really dodgy ground, like really small amount of ground
that you can roll off of,
but
if you're not paying attention.
Huge, and even when you're walking up that massive tower on those stairs, the spiral staircase, and one lands behind you. But all of these things are really finessed and magical, and I don't think you need to do a lot to the core game, because you both saying that you've gone back and gone, I'm not looking at this rose tinted glasses. This is still it. This is still good.
I've got the problem again where when we're not playing, because we have to record on a schedule almost, because only putting out an episode at the minute is every other day. I'm probably going to ramp that up to an episode a day while we're off, because I can probably do that. I want to play it now. I want to play more right now, and I don't want to I was thinking, do I just start another character up and just play? No, I don't want to do that.
It's special between you and Laura and
have
Violet,
the run, and then go back later and have a real run and level up and be excited that I can level up again. But it's been so much fun going through using like the Royal class, which is the level 1 class, which starts with a good spell and MP regenerate. So it's not even that hard at the start. I don't think it's actually quite nice to you at the start. It gives you some things to make up for the fact you've got this level 1. I think it's before, I think that the base level class started being the worst in all the stats. Like the Deprived in Dark Souls 2 has 6 in everything. That's all you've got. Whereas the Royal in Demon Souls has got a decent intelligence. They have got a wand that increases MP. They've got a ring that regenerates their MP up. They start with Soul Arrow, which is a really good spell for early game.
I saw you super spamming that.
Because when you realise it works well, thing is, I get to 2-2, right? And you remember the bear bugs in 2-2, those big fiery bugs that just hang about? It takes a lot of soul arrows to kill those. They're not very quick, but my god, do they have thick hides.
Also,
god.
That stabby face knife that they have. Because they look quite cuddly, and I could indeed have a plush of them. But they feel heavy as well. And I like that. Because they
feel heavy when they do the jumping jump attack, which you don't see coming. Like, there are some noises that were made. Because I've forgotten a lot. I've forgotten that there are these little rock centipedes that jump out in that level and just kind of shoot fire out of their mouths when you weren't expecting. Again, very Harryhausen.
You know how we've spoken recently about Eternal Darkness? And it feels like, very much with Demon's Souls, that the game is pushing and pulling you in so many different ways from level to level. It never feels like you're on safe ground. And one thing that I will say as well is that does Demon's Souls have the prettiest shield in all of the games?
Are you talking about the Adjudicator shield?
I am talking about the Adjudicator shield.
Saucy bitch. Because I've met Patches now and he holds it and I got to admire it a little bit.
It's fantastic.
What a good shield.
I'd love to see more big shields that have got look like they've genuinely been painted by a person. Because it almost looks like a playing card or like a tarot card or something. But the lore actually on the item ties into the way that it looks so well, and I just think it's fantastic.
It sucks that I'm not going to be able to use it because the stats I won't have. But I used it on my original run for ages. I think really good shield. And it's just nice to look at.
How do you feel about the combat in Demon's Souls? Because I think it feels heavier, more deliberate, and I think that you have to ponder your next move and assess what your enemy's doing in a way that I possibly don't feel that Souls has done in the same way since.
I think the pace is definitely slower. I don't think you can twitch react as much as you can, particularly in the later games, I would say. There are, depending on how you play, you can kind of get hints of it in sort of 1 and 2, Dark Souls 1 and 2. I think we had this discussion years ago that
we did.
They feel more arcadey in that respect, whereas Demon's Souls feels heavy and it feels weighty. And if you are in trouble, just spamming the roll button isn't going to help you. I actually found that I could parry in this quite well. Because you can see the enemies coming, and you're not fighting like 18 swords coming at you from different angles. There's one guy with a sword swinging overhand, like right, and 3, 2, 1, and parry.
It also feels to me in Demon's Souls like I mentioned before that it feels like heavier and it feels more strategic, but it almost feels like a combat sport in the way that you're not necessarily thinking about your next move, but you're trying to anticipate what your enemy's going to do and how you can counter that.
Yeah,
and that's what I find fascinating about Demon's Souls, because it always felt more cerebral to me, because it was a degree of not only not in the fact that you could hit because you knew how you could hit, but it was assessing what your enemy was doing. If your enemy jumped at you, and then you thrust, that their momentum meets your momentum would do more damage, and you were constantly thinking about this dance, this choreography, this push-pull between the two of you, and it being a genuine battle. How often have you found in Demon's Souls an enemy will just keep up their shield to mentally mess with you? Literally, that shield's not coming down.
This legitimately did happen.
Yeah.
On recording the other day. It was a Red Invader Phantom that turns up. Would not put his shield down, to the point where I put mine down and I was running around in front and going, do something, hit me.
But don't you think that's
hit
cool?
Me. It was very cool, and at the time, my teeth hurt. It's like, just do something. But yeah, though the actual enemy, they have a shield as well. It's not just attack. They can use their shield, and I think you don't see that so much. It's all about pure anger and pure assault rather than turtling down. But this does legitimise that the enemies can turtle as well as you can if they choose to.
I'd almost like to see, because if Souls has advanced to the likes of like Bloodborne and Sekiro, where there's a focus on attack, I'd love to see a Souls game or a Souls like from or whomever that would focus back on that kind of dalliance. I think the Surge did it really well, where you were constantly trying to catch your enemy off guard more than anything else. You were judging how they were coming at you, how you could get out of the way, how you could best. That dalliance was there in the Surge, and I think
there was footwork.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. Oh no, and also you felt, I like feeling a little bit heavier, a little bit more physical, and I think that's one of the things about Demon Souls, whereby yes, you've got this fantastical world that's full of horror, that's full of fantasy and mystery and stuff, but the sheer human physicality of your character on screen, I think, is a huge anchor to that world, and it feeling more threatening than the kind of arcadey bounce-abouts that have come afterwards. And I don't think I'm being unfair by saying that.
I think part of it is, I mean, when you get your body form back, because you normally spend most of the game in soul form at half health, or normal health, as some people say, and body form is just bonus. Like, when you get your health back, you look heavier, you look a little more like you're there. There's not that little ethereal sort of glow around you. It's the little touches that I think do it. Good example, in the Nexus, if you are in soul form, your footsteps don't have any effect on the sort of visible floor. If you're a human, they go plong, plong, plong as you run around. That's really good. Yeah. But it's really good.
This is something I'd like to see kind of fold back into things, and I don't know. I'm quite wistful for that, and all of this ties into, like I say, you and I have had like a jokey back and forth on this, but I genuinely think Demon Souls is really special, and I think if it does get chance to be a PS5 launch title, I think it's a system seller, because from a different animal now anyway, they're in the public zeitgeist. The games do ridiculously well, but it's the one game that a lot of people haven't been able to get to. And if they show it off and it just looks that they show off all of the nuance of, I mean, I think one of the reasons that it stood the test of time is the design work is so strong, like throughout the entire game. Because even though you've got that loss of fidelity,
you don't feel you're walking through like boring corridors. Like everything feels like it's laid out in a place for a reason.
It super feels like you're holding your breath throughout it, because there's just this, I wouldn't say menace. It's almost like this kind of dark static. It's not a depression, but it is something where you I used to turn I can play lots of games and put music on as I'm playing and stuff. I used to turn the telly up so loud, and I'd literally be listening for anything, and you get around the corner and you'd hear like and I'd be like, where is it? And I'd be doing those Tomb Raider steps again.
I remember jumping out of my seat in 3-1 when you walk around, not for the pings. There's someone in a cell. Is it Saint Urbain or someone like that, or Frake? Yeah. And you hear this, like, what the hell was that? Oh, and then you're walking, like, tiptoeing eggshells for the next 5 minutes, trying to work out what the hell that noise is and where it's coming from, because that does not sound like something that's nice to you. Like, it sounds terrifying, and it turns out you're fine. But at the time, all the bing, like, where is that? I can't see the enemy. I know what he's all about, and I can't see him, and that is bad for me.
I mean, I will say that obviously these games have been very influential with online, and I think that, in the same way as we were talking about Animal Crossing, that like now they can get the online side of things, they can push through so many special events. Monster Hunter does it as well. They can keep it going with a number of special events. If they got world tendency right, that would be super interesting. Because
so I've never quite understood that whole system. I've never got it.
I think in many ways it was a mystery and a little bit of a misstep. But I think that if you had, because I remember them having like Valentine's events where you could vote for whether the world would be easier or harder.
Halloween as well.
It would be great to be able to say to people, oh, if you haven't got through this level, it's white world tendency. Everybody playing it has managed to get towards white world tendency. So if you stuck with it on a level, it's going to be a little easier for this weekend or today. And in the same regard, like so many people have died recently that there's black world tendency. All of the levels are harder, but the drops are going to be god tier.
Happy Halloween.
But I think that if they do that right in the modern day, you've got scope to play about with that world in such a degree. You can that can inform the lifespan of the game. I think it's super interesting.
I think you're right. I while I know you pine for that last Archstone, see personally, I would rather keep it broken. I like the mystery. I like the mystery. It feels, again, like we were saying, like it doesn't necessarily as welcome. I think Demon's Souls is a perfect length. I don't know if I'd want another. I don't know if I'd want another world. I think I like it. I tend to be a purist in these things.
Because they designed it, didn't they? They built it, but they couldn't finesse it in time to get it shipped. I'd be curious to see it maybe as DLC or do it in a way that you can finish the game, but it's
you realise even if it's DLC, it's non-optional, isn't it? It's like, well, of course you have to look at it now. It's been 10 years. Of course we have to look at it. Who's not buying that?
It would be interesting, though, if kind of Miyazaki was talking to Blue Point and going, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this, and kind of gets his producer head on it. I feel a back and forth. Like the person within me that's curious for more is curious for more, but I super feel what he's saying, that like don't touch it on stuff. Or maybe you could build up to like a degree of ongoing story with like world tendency with that,
possibly
where like literally building through to the sixth Archstone. And I don't know, have like puzzles in game that appear in like world tendency. You know what I mean? You could kind of play with it, but then again, it's like, do you monkey with it too much?
Would you scholar it? Would you remix it, or would you keep it as it was? Because I don't think it needs any change. I think it's fine as it is.
I think it's pretty perfect in most regards. Also, I will say with regards to scary levels, 4-2 genuinely freaks the life out of me, because games don't often have things like creeping up behind you, and that game, when you're walking down the steps and you've literally got something that can appear out of nowhere and kill you in one shot, and then you've got those long-armed sort of shadow creatures that come towards you. But then when you go down that sort of spiral staircase, and you know they're appearing from certain places, and they could be behind you, they could be in front of you. There's that one that can one-shot you. There's so much jeopardy and so little room to move. It's giving me the shivers. Also, like the getting that sword that can crack the sky.
One of gaming's biggest power moments.
It's simply insane. And again, we spoke about it with Dragon's Dogma and stuff recently on the stream, but that's a last gen thing. We're almost in next gen, and it's a last gen idea that I've not seen done anywhere else to that degree of bombast and theatre. And even I know it's not particularly tough boss, but it's super Harryhausen. Is the one where the guy's blindfolded and he's
the old hero.
Yeah, it's an amazing battle.
Great fight, that.
But you could almost imagine that in like stop motion, couldn't you?
Oh God, imagine.
Yeah, yeah. But what a game! What a game!
Incredible game, and I'm just so excited to like go through it again, like with these added stipulations of like the One Bro thing, because it makes it It gives you the fear again. Trademark the fear. I've got the fear back because I've got a flame lurker to do next, and I am terrified. Because I remember doing that fairly easily on my first run, just by I think I just ran away and soul arrowed him until I won. I had more hit points on that save than I do on this one.
As you do on a as you run around like Benny Hill around those ribs. Yeah,
and spin around and go Peh! With my soul strip and run again.
Still terrifying, but also part of the menace of that boss is the sheer run up that you have to do to get to him.
It turns out there's a fast lane and you can get there fairly quickly. But if you don't know where that is, as I didn't, you could run past it 3 times and not realise. I've googled it now. I know where he is now. Turns out I was close.
Right. Well, I will say to close the show, and this is a little bit of an anomaly. You and I quite like our imperfect games.
We do.
Yeah, and there was something that I was made aware of a little while ago that I saw and I dismissed a little bit, and because I didn't know what it was, and then I was like, I'll take a look, and I forgot. And I remember at a certain point hearing this game was coming out, and so when I was working out one morning, I was like, right, I'll stick on a video and I'll see what people thought of the beta test or whatever it was. And I saw some people going, right, the game is a little bit janky. It's not all there. It doesn't always do itself justice, but I've just played 5 hours of it, and there's something there, and I can't put my finger on what it is, but there's something there. And so I've been meaning to sort of have a look at this game for a while, and it's a game called Bless Unleashed, and it's a free-to-play MMO that's come out from Bandai Namco, and so I stuck it on the other day, and there's kind of like an opening section where it's mentioned it's a good way to like pick your class and test which class that you want to run and stuff. And I was going to run a ranger, which looked a little bit like my favourite classes from Dragon's Dogma, and the ranger plays very much like that sort of class from Dragon's Dogma. So I then went into like the opening sequence and the opening like level and stuff to get you into things. The story's not great. The characters aren't great. The lip syncing isn't great, and it doesn't paint itself in the greatest light. But when you get into the world afterwards, there's something there, and I can't quite tell you what it is. But it's weird, and having lots of people running around you and kind of playing the game alongside you, it doesn't seem like the way that I felt with MMOs in the past, where I just feel kind of claustrophobic and lost and stuff. It doesn't seem to put too many people in the same instance, which I quite like. But yeah, there's something there, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. But it is a little bit janky, like I say. But it's quite nice when you sit amongst something and you go, I don't really like that, and I'm not sure about that, but it's fun to play, and it might not be this, it might not be that, but I really like that, and that's really weird. And do you know what I mean? That takes me back to original From fields, and even like there's a thing whereby you can regain all your energy. I think it's called like a Souls Pyre, where you all sit around a bonfire, and your energy goes back up. But somebody can cook at the bonfire, and you can share it with the other players. It will basically there will be like it will say like one character is cooking, and there will be like 4 slots for whatever they're cooking, and the people sitting around the bonfire can each take a slot of that and kind of give themselves buffs for when they return back to the game.
That's cute.
Which is a really cool idea. A lot of the stuff that really works feels very Dragon's Dogma. Really liking the enemy designs and stuff. The world is great fun to adventure in. It feels quite, even though obviously it is going to be an open world, it feels level based in the same way as, say, Greedfall did. It's in kind of curated areas,
zones.
Yeah, and it was quite good fun. Like you'll see certain creatures sort of die and then get back up because you realise that they're things that people can farm and stuff. But you'd also see like quite early on when you get out the opening area, you'll see like this giant kind of wolf beast. And it's kind of nice, like running into this open area with like a number of people and trying to take it down and stuff. And yeah, it's just, there's something about it. And if somebody has got an Xbox One, download it because it costs you nothing. And it seems, I think they're doing the Battle Pass thing with it. Should you want to go down that route and get some extra stuff, but you can ride beasts and. There's a purple ostrich that you can ride at a certain point, which is kind of interesting. But it's kind of nice.
I will say I'm playing something in a similar vein, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Good times.
Yeah, I put something on. I was looking for something to play the other day, and I downloaded some stuff that I got from Plus over the years. And I wasn't expecting. I thought I'll give that a go. I fancy it. And like you said earlier, 5 hours passed. I was like, oh, I'm having fun, but somehow. But I'm not going to say. I'm going to say that for the next the Humanities. I think it's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm
still unpacking it.
Yeah, but we do traditionally like our stuff, which is got personality, and sometimes that's in the flaws as well as the things that work. So
ambition is very important.
Yeah.
So before we close up, a couple of quick shout-outs, I think, before we finish up. Firstly, to Wayne at Onside7, who did the art for my one row. I know times are tough at the minute, but if you need some art done, go ask Wayne for some art. He's really good. Tell him I sent you. It won't make any difference, but, Wayne's cool. Also, shout-out to our good friend Pete, lovely Pete, who is, once again, diligently running the death counter for Dem1 Bro. I believe it's Dem1_DC. On Twitter. If you are following me, it will show up on mine because I retweet it whenever I see it, whenever I die. But it hasn't been that many times yet because I've been pretty good so far. It's going to get worse. Shout out to everybody in the Twitch chat who have all been wonderful and brilliant and so much fun to talk to. And I miss you all. As much as I miss streaming and playing the game, I also miss chatting to you people when I'm not on. It's genuinely good.
So if you are a listener, don't forget to jump onto the Twin Humanities YouTube channel and see Paddy's Demon's Souls 1 Bro run. You can. We're on Twitch at twitch.tv/coffeejesus. And if it'd be nice to see you. Amazing people in chat. Plus, if you've got Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch subscription. Or if you want to subscribe anyway, or drop bits or whatever the little bonus things are. Never really asked for much on this show, but it'd be really nice to kind of to have that support, especially at these times as well. Yeah. But yeah, the more the merrier. But we like to do more of this, and I think it's been a massive boon to the two of us to be able to not only interact together, but sort of finally have a closer connection with folks. So thank you very much. Whether you listen, you tune in whether it be YouTube or Twitch or whatever, we're super appreciated. So
it's making this whole lockdown thing less hellish, and that's huge.
But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Old school, and yeah, and that might be the title of the episode. And we'll see, hear, talk to you soon.
Very good.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. But